I want to hear about Greece now.
48 hours in Greece, man.
So, if I may, I want to maybe set the stage. You went to Greece on, was it Tuesday? You left Monday morning.
Yep.
Flew all day. So then you landed our time Tuesday, but because they're ahead of us, you landed really on Wednesday.
No, I landed on Tuesday.
Tuesday night.
I landed Tuesday morning in Munich.
Tuesday morning in Munich.
Tuesday Munich time, which is about 10 hours ahead of us.
Got it.
So it's Tuesday morning when I land, but it's
Monday night for us.
Yeah, late Monday night. Yep. And my plane is supposed to leave like in 2 hours and go from in 2 hours, around noon roughly, a 2-hour flight to Thessaloniki. I'm in Thessaloniki at 2, check into my hotel, chill, have dinner with the other food writers, and we leave in the morning. So
Munich, Germany on 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning.
Yep.
Your flight from Munich, Germany leaves around noon.
Was supposed to leave.
Was supposed to leave around noon to go from Munich, Germany to Thessaloniki, Greece.
Yep.
So what happened?
Got to Munich and the flight to Thessaloniki was canceled.
So, by the way, if you're listening to this, I actually don't know what's like. I know like that he came home, and I know that he left. I don't really know what happened between.
We haven't talked about the trip.
No, I have no fucking idea. So you're playing. What the hell happened?
So I get to Munich, and your flight ain't happening. You're not going to.
Hey, American, you're in Germany. Good luck. What happened?
So I went. I was a guest of the Greek government, Greek National Tourism Board.
Yeah.
There was 5 of us, food and travel personalities and travel writers who went on this trip.
Yeah.
And
what a wild time to go on a trip like that.
Well, it was scheduled a long time ago.
Yeah.
When we didn't know what was going to happen.
Fucking awful, man.
So they get me another flight. So now I'm leaving at 9 o'clock at night from the Munich airport.
Oh, shit.
It's 10 o'clock in Munich.
Yeah.
I'm leaving at 9 o'clock at night. So I check it out, and the Munich airport is a 45-minute train ride from Munich.
Oh, wow! So it's not in Munich, Germany at all.
No,
it's like if they put the Portland airport in Hillsborough.
Well, even farther because it's a 45-minute high-speed train ride.
Hood River.
Yeah, I mean it's way out there.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking, well, what the heck?
45 minutes on a train.
Yeah, a
which
fast
goes
train.
like 60, 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, fast, and it just
It could be like 45 miles away from Germany.
Yeah, I don't know how
It's 20 at least.
Yeah.
At the very least.
Yeah, it's ways out there. So I thought, you know what? I am not going to stay. The Munich airport is beautiful. They even have a brewery at the airport.
I mean, it's massive, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it's massive and huge
it's
and
a giant
beautiful
hub.
and well run, and it's phenomenal. But I'm not staying there.
Well, I think if you're an American going to Europe, it's like one of the few places that they take you to, right? Like, isn't it one of the hubs of?
Yeah, there's a number of them. Yeah, that's one of them. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, I want to see Munich. And so when I was in Bozeman, Montana, 2 years ago.
What the? Why? Look. I love how you tell stories. I have no fucking idea why you're bringing up Bozeman.
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay,
I'm gonna tell
let you.
So I got to do a podcast with the guy that runs the Hofbrauhaus dive bar.
Which is what?
It's a dive bar in Bozeman, Montana.
Okay.
Hofbrauhaus. I did a podcast.
I don't know what that
with
word
him.
means. Is that a German word?
It's a German word, and it's named after the original Hofbrauhaus in Munich, Germany.
Got it.
So and it's been around since like 1805 or some crazy thing. I don't know, a long time ago.
Yeah.
My date's probably way wrong, but I'll have it right in my article. So I'm there doing the podcast with the Hofbrauhaus, which is an amazing podcast. They got all this crap on the ceilings. He's telling all these stories, and I love the guy. And on the podcast, I say, so tell me about the Hofbrauhaus. They go, there's a bunch of them. They're all over Montana, and really, there's one in Munich. And I go, yeah, I kind of knew that. And said, someday I'm going to be in Munich. I'm going to go to the Hofbrauhaus. So I'm standing here at the airport going, I'm here till 9. I'm going to the fucking Hofbrauhaus.
I have 11 hours.
So I found a place to check my luggage. I put it in this. They've got a place where you like $5, and they hold your bags right there at the airport.
Like a cubby.
Yeah, like a cubby. And they give you a little ticket, and they check it in this back room.
Yeah.
And then it's just part of the airport, pretty cool. And then I get on the train, and I get this map, and I get this lady at the airport that helps me. And I get off the train, and it's a cold, rainy day. And I go to the Hofbrauhaus, and I have an amazing beer, and I have a incredible schnitzel, chicken schnitzel, which was just phenomenal.
What's a schnitzel? Is that a
like deep fried, breaded, not deep fried, breaded, flattened. It's just incredible. I'll show you pictures.
okay? Oh, if I'm gonna give it to Liz. here's a picture
of the
It's
schnitzel.
beautiful. It's awesome.
So I'm there at the Hopper House going, I can't believe I'm here. I said 2 years ago when I'm in Bozeman that I'm going to go to the Hopper House, and now I'm sitting
With
here.
no plan, by the way. No fucking idea that this trip is going to happen or any of this shit. Like,
Yeah, none of it. And
and
here
you
I
were
am.
way more broke 2 years ago. Like,
Way
it's
more. My whole
Not even possible. Like, there's no idea that could have even been a possibility. Like,
But it happened. So then I get done there and I go check out. I walk around, all of Munich. I walk all over and I found this amazing place with these incredible cheesecakes and desserts. And I have cheesecake and coffee. And it's raining and it's a Monday or Tuesday, midday. There's not many people out and about. And then I get on the train and I head back to the airport. So when you go back to the airport, the train going back does this. The road does this, like this, and then it splits, and then it goes over here to a town. And then you have to stay on the train that doesn't split, and that goes to the airport. And if you go to this town, you're like 20 miles from the airport. So you have to make sure you get on the right one.
so one train splits, one train goes to the airport.
Yeah, and it's the same, the track kind of, and you just, all right, did I get on the one that goes
same.
this way?
The track looks the same.
Yeah, but did I get on this one or this one? Because when you're in the town, this train
Yeah.
goes over here, don't get on that one, this one goes there.
Quit hitting the mic.
Sorry. So I get on the right train, and
Yeah.
pretty soon we're going through the stops, and I've got my little map, and I'm reading the stops, and I discovered that I know more Klingon than I know German.
They sound the same.
Yeah, they're pretty harsh languages, and it's like, and I got bad hearing anyways, so I can't quite hear, but I can see the pictures when we stop. I see the sign they've got these cool signs, like every time you stop, there's the sign of that stop matches the name on my map. I don't know what it says, but it's great.
The symbols match the symbols I see.
So we're going along, and we're in the middle of nowhere. There's these fields, and the train stops. And then they make this big announcement, and people get up. And, like, we're not at one of the stops. We're just stopped. And I say to the lady, do you know what's happening? And then I think, oh, my God.
I'm in Germany.
Yeah, I'm in Germany. And she goes, you need to come with me. And I go, okay. So we get up, and she says, where are you going? I said, to the airport. She says, oh, my goodness, you're an American. I said, yes. And she says, I will help you. So we get off the train. And
she kind of roll her eyes like, oh, an American.
Yeah. But thank God she spoke English.
Yeah.
So she says,
I think a lot of them do,
she
actually.
said,
Like,
this train is broke. So
in a field in
so
Germany.
we have to get off and walk this way, and then walk down this way, and then under the tracks, and back up to this side. And then there's this little old train depot thing. And
Wait, is the train raised? Like, I'm trying to picture this.
no,
Like,
it's just like a regular train.
how did you get under the?
Because they have these, it goes over, like, they have tunnels dug, so you can walk under the tracks.
Got it. Okay, I got it.
So we had to
Oh
get
wow.
off, go
so
down.
you really are just low. Because I'm trying to picture, like, you're not up a ways up. You're literally just what's around you, like green fields.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So then there's this little depot, like old, like kind of an Old West depot, and she says, you stay here, and in about 45 minutes, and there's this little, if you stand out a little bit, you're going to get rained on because the light rain is falling. It's like just like Portland. And she says, you stand here in about 45 minutes, a train will come. You get on that train, it'll take you to the airport. I said, where are you going? She says, I have to go back where we just came from and stand on that side of the tracks.
so she went out of her way to help you, guide you to
Yes.
that thing.
And she says, because I'm taking the train to the other city. And I'm like, okay. So then I'm just standing there, it's like 3:00. I'm like, I'm so glad my plane doesn't leave till 9. And I'm just like hoping a train comes along. I'm in Germany in the middle of nowhere, hoping my train comes along.
I haven't even gotten to Greece yet.
So the train comes along and I get on I get to the airport. Okay, everything's great. I get on my plane. I fly to Thessaloniki. And there's this sign that says, if you're coming from a non-EU country, go over there to get your luggage. So everybody else is going over here. And I look, there's this door and you can't. So is that where I'm supposed to go? And I can't tell and I don't read Greek. So I open the door and I go in and the door shuts behind me. And I'm terrified. I turn around and it won't open back up. And I'm trapped in this room and there's this luggage thing that's not moving. So like, what do I do? And then there's a door. If I go out that door, I can't get back into here, and I can't get back into there. So I wait about 20 minutes, and then one piece of luggage comes out, and it's mine. So I grab it, and I go out the door.
So everyone else was coming from another European Union country.
Right.
Here, turn your mic just a little bit. Like, there you go.
But
Too far.
So some
There you go.
So some of the there was other
Yeah.
people on that flight that didn't know to go into that room.
Got it.
So they were even later than me, but I finally get out of the room. I've got my luggage, and there's a guy holding a sign that says Stephen Shomler.
Really?
And it's like, oh, yeah.
Wait, in Greece?
In
You're
Thessaloniki,
Greece now.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Got it. And what time is it? Like
11 o'clock at night.
Oh my god. And it's Tuesday night.
And I have been traveling since
Monday morning.
Monday morning.
Fuck, man.
Because I
probably
flew
missed
from
a bed. Like,
I flew from PDX to Denver, and then a 12-hour flight from Denver to Munich. Then I was in Munich all day from 10 to 9, and then a 2-hour flight to Thessaloniki. It's not 11 o'clock Tuesday
you're
night.
dead tired.
Dead tired, but I want to film this hotel, this badass hotel in Thessaloniki.
You land and you're in work mode.
I'm work mode. So I take all my luggage. They take me up to our amazing host from the Greek National Tour greets us. She's super wonderful.
The National Tourism Board of Greece.
Yeah.
Nice.
So she greets us. She's amazing. She's wonderful. You know, but she's tired because she's trying to get us all there. And others of us had delays. You know, the flights are being canceled, and it's a mess.
It's all a mess. Yeah.
So to get up to my room, and the nice guy from the hotel puts the luggage in the room, and he leaves. I take the luggage back out of the room. I put it in the hall, and I film the room. Get all the shot. I film the hall. It's all great. Then I put my luggage in my room. Everything's good. I take a bunch of photos. Then I go downstairs to the front desk and say, hey, I'm a filmmaker, and I'm going to film outside and film this. And these are young kids, like probably in their early 20s.
Like my age.
Yeah, and the guy, he's looking at me like I've lost my mind.
It's like, what the fuck?
So I start pulling all my gear out of my pockets, and he goes, "What's this? What's this?" So I show him my video, the Culinary Treasure Show. You can go to the Culinary Treasure Network YouTube channel. I've got my first show up, and he watches and he goes, "Did you make that?" And he spoke some English, and I go, "Yes." He goes, "That's incredible." So I start showing him my name, and he goes, "This is incredible. I will help you." I said, "What's your name?" He says, "My name is Thanos."
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Like the guy from Avengers.
Yeah, the god of death.
The purple dude.
Yeah, the Greek god of death. His parents named him after the Greek god of death.
Hey, I mean, it's kind of badass. Like I will say.
It is. It is.
Like,
so Thanos and Giannis.
Thanos and Giannis. Is it Giannis like Giannis?
I don't know. There's a lot of Giannis's. Some have Y's, some have G's.
There's the Giannis in he plays in the NBA.
Yeah.
I can't say it's like Antetokounmpo. I can't say his last. I just call him. I say Giannis because I'll never say his last name or ever get it right. It's too hard. But he's from Greece as well.
So they helped me, and I filmed the lobby. I filmed the outside. I got beautiful shots. Then I did a fun Instagram story with them, and they were all excited. and what I didn't know is that the Greek people tattle on you. So then he says, "Hey, you got to go to the roof in the morning." He says, "You got to go to the roof in the morning." I go, "What's up there?" He says, "Oh, in the summer, we have a restaurant and a bar. We do weddings. And was it okay to film now?" I said, "It's okay to film now, but you got to go film it." Okay. So I get to bed at 2. I get up at 7.
And by the way, 2 o'clock after you've traveled for 2 days straight. Like,
So I go downstairs to the front desk and I say, "Hey, I'm Steve. I need to go to the roof and film." He goes, "Oh, you're Steven. Yes, we must get the man for you right now." Because Thanos and Giannis had told me there's this filmmaker and he's amazing and it's really good. So the legend is growing.
So Steven, there's a guy named Steven he's a filmmaker, and we got to take him to the roof.
Right. So this guy comes in suit and tie and he takes me up to the film and he's like watching me.
Like the manager or like
I don't know. I don't think so.
Some guy.
No, he wasn't the manager. And he's like, "Well, why are you doing that?" I said, "Well, because I don't want to show this because this is dirty and ugly and I want it to look nice." And he was so grateful that I was making. And then he's helping me and we get it shot. Then I go downstairs.
So the guy has some stake in the restaurant, in the hotel. He wants it to look good.
Yeah, he understands that he gets it what I'm trying to do. I'm not gonna,
You're trying to help them.
Yeah, if it was summer, it would look beautiful. It's just because there's no one up there right now. It's just not being used.
They're not showing the ugly part. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
well, it's doing right by them though. Like,
yeah. So then I put all my stuff back in my room. I go down and I have this incredible breakfast. I take a bunch of pictures of breakfast. And I think that guy over there might be with our trip, but I don't know. And I eat my breakfast. I'm happy to be alone and have some downtime. And then we have a meeting at 10:30 with some lady at the hotel. And then 11, we get on the thing. So at 10:30, I bring my luggage down and I walk down. And
after you filmed already this morning.
Yeah. And I sit.
By the way, what time did you get up? So you got to bed at 2.
And got up at 6:45.
Holy I thought I didn't sleep, man.
It gets better. Wait till you hear about the next night.
I can do that normally, but not if I've been traveling for 2 days. That's so impressive to me. Anyways, 10:30, you're at the meeting.
At the meeting, and I walk out and meet the other travel writers, and we're sizing it up. Are these nice people? Are these not? Who are these people? There's 5 of us, and then the lady comes, and she's gonna visit with us
from the Greek National Tourism
No,
Board.
from the hotel.
Oh, got it. Okay, got it.
And she says, "Oh, you're Steven. Thank you so much for all the filming you've done at our hotel." And the other people look at me like, "What the heck? when did you get here? Last night at 11. I filmed everything." And so all the places she toured, I'd already gone and filmed.
Steven, why don't you lead the tour?
So then we got in our little thing and we headed north to the town of, I'm going to get it wrong because I don't have my notes with me, but Gomanessa, to this really cool little old town. And we stayed at, I don't have my notes, but Demostanis,
Sure.
guest house, the
Sure,
most
yeah.
Dennis guest house.
Okay.
And I meet Maria and her husband Derek, and they're super awesome and they're super nice, and we're all checked in, and we're gonna get a 2-hour nap, which I'm so grateful for. And then we're gonna go to this.
You're like, yeah, please.
Yes. And then we're going to go to this. And when we get there, they have treats and alcohol for us. When we get to this guest house, I'm like, yeah, baby. And we get a 2-hour nap. And then we're going to go to this winery at 5. And we're going to get it back at 9. So before my little nap, I say to Maria, hey, is there a dive bar around here?
We're talking about naps.
She says, a dive bar? You mean like, did you swim underwater too? Because she thinks diving.
No. She has no idea. Like,
So
is that part of an English barrier or what's the.
Yeah, because so I tell her what a diver is. I show her pictures of you in Cincinnati and the dive bar we found there,
Yes.
and she thinks it's hilarious. And I show her the evil guy, the bartender that we loved. It was
Like
great.
He looks like a villain, but he's great.
a wonderful human. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I show her the actual bar called Dive Bar, and she says, well, that's too pretty to be what you're talking about. And she gets it. She says,
Oh, she got it, but I didn't.
well, she's older and wiser. So she says, yes, there is a bar in town, Umenis, which I think means omen. It means omen in English. Umenis, something like that. She said, we have it. Yes, Dimitri owns it. I'll take you there now. I said, great. We get back at 9. I'll go. She says, fantastic. She's going to take me there.
At 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
That's
Yeah.
the plan.
Yep. And I said, I need a bakery. She says, what do you need a bakery for? I have to go to a bakery in the morning. She says, but your stuff starts at 11 tomorrow. I said, I know, but I want to go to a bakery in the morning. She says, well, we'll feed you. I said, I know, but I still need to go to a bakery in the morning. Oh, so she tells me how I can walk to a bakery. We get to the winery. There's this amazing presentation they give us, like literally a 74-point PowerPoint presentation, and we're tasting all this wine. We're in this beautiful area.
Was it a good part? Was it enjoyable? Or
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Okay.
This incredible young woman is doing this presentation in English to us. There's all these travel people from the local community, local travel bureau, basically, like imagine the county or state travel
big event,
agencies. It's a big event to have these travel. And then we were the first, in this part of that neck of the woods, the first American travel writers that ever had. And this is their first event for the first people ever.
So they're stoked.
They're stoked. And so they give us this big tour, or they give us all this wine, then they give us a tour, and then we get to eat dinner, and we start eating at 10:42 p.m. And it was amazing. And then we go back and
10:42
p.m.
p.m.
Yeah, we got there around
And you're
5.
supposed to be there back. You're supposed to be back at 9.
9 p.m. Done.
Oh man.
So 10:42 p.m. we have dinner. So then we go back into the main.
What was dinner?
Oh, it was all this incredible. The food is amazing in Greece. All these Greek
Do
dishes.
you remember what it was like?
Oh no, I got a bazillion photos, but it was so good.
If we have a photo, it's right here. If we don't, I tried.
And so then we go back into the main room, and then we get a music presentation, more wine, and a music
Oh,
presentation.
the night just keeps going.
Yes. And so then there's this lady that plays the piano, or she sings, and her partner plays the piano. I got an incredible picture of him playing the piano with his reflection up in the piano. So incredible photo. And she's singing Frank Sinatra songs in English. And I love Frank Sinatra.
Her picture was reflected in the.
His image was reflected in the top of the piano. So he's playing the piano, and
You
the
have a
piano
picture of
lights
that?
up. Yeah. Yeah. Up there. Yeah.
Right
It's-
there. Cool picture.
And she did an amazing job. It was so cool what she did. And then, but while I told you this amazing lady is giving this presentation about the winery, she's talking about the wine. And one of our other food writers, his name is Evan, and he's winesavvy.com. And he's incredible. He was raised in a Greek family. He speaks Greek fluently. So he'd ask a winemaker a question. I left out something. We on our way to the guest house, we stopped at a winery. And then we got our nap. And then we went to this
So
other
you
place.
went from 10:30 meeting, winery,
Guest house.
Yep. Nap.
yep.
Then another winery at 5.
Yep. So Evan would ask questions. That's we had lunch at other winery.
Yeah.
Cool winery. I won't even get to a lot. It's just amazing stuff. We had an orange resin wine, which was like a unicorn wine. Unless you're a wine nerd, you won't even know what that
What's
means.
a unicorn wine?
What?
What's a unicorn wine?
One you never find. It's so good. It's so incredible. So
A
it's
resin wine. Kind
a
of like
resin
finding,
wine, but it
kind of
was
finding that milk wine that one time was
Yeah,
like you just never find that.
Yeah, but it's a resin wine, and it's orange, though. So I meet this guy, Evan, Wine Savvy. He's incredible. I love his stuff, and I'm telling him, hey, when you write an article, I'll put your article in mine. And he goes, what? I said, well, yeah, because I'm going to say it's a cool place to go to it. You're going to say, here's why an orange resin wine is so cool. And eventually he realized I was serious.
It's kind of like on my show when I do Nate's notes, where like I know what I don't know, and then Nate knows wide receivers better than I do, so let's include Nate's content because it's better than mine.
But he would ask a question in English to any of the. We went to 3 wineries total. We're supposed to go to 24 on our trip. We went to 3. He'd ask a question in English. It'd get translated. They'd give a not quite detailed answer or not quite give him the truth. So he would then fire back a follow-up question in Greek. And they're like, oh, he speaks Greek.
Gotcha, baby.
Gotcha. So Evan is amazing. We have this great time, and Evan is asking technical questions about the wine. Is it really barrel?
He's
Was
like
it
like me with quarterbacks. Like
yeah,
he's a nerd about wine.
he knows his shit. I love Evan. I'm a huge fan. He's amazing. Winesavvy.com with 2 V's. He's awesome. And so he's asking all these wine questions, and I'm like looking at the gal thinking, why is she the winemaker? What is she doing here? What does she do to this winery? So I start asking questions. Well, why'd you name this wine that? And well, where did the name of the winery come from? Well, how long has this winery been here? And they don't want to talk as much about that. So
you want to talk about the nerdy stuff.
Yeah. So pretty soon I turn to my gal, that's our shepherd basically, around and say, hey, if I can get a ride back here in the morning to do a podcast with her, is that okay? Because our thing doesn't start till 11. She says, Steven, you know what you're doing. You hustle, man. Go for it. Mm-hmm. So the president of the local town, I confer with everybody. I'm talking to people, and he's going to pick me up at 7:30 in the morning, and he's going to take me back to this winery that's about 40 minutes away.
The place you had lunch.
No, the place we're at Wednesday night.
Got it.
Yeah, Wednesday night. And I'm going to do a podcast with the gal. So it's all set up while she's speaking. And finally I say, okay, it's all set up. Does she know yet? Because she's never gotten down from speaking. This is before dinner. Oh, her dad said yes. Her dad's part of the winery. He'll tell her to do it. I'm like, okay. So before we leave the winery.
Acted on faith. Like, yeah,
before we leave the winery, I said, did they tell you? Oh, yeah, I'll be here at 8 for your podcast. And I'm like, all right. So I'm coming back at 8 in the morning. The president's picking me up and driving me, and then they're going to get me back, and I'm going to do a podcast.
The president's going to come what time?
At 7:30 in the morning.
He better come at 7:30.
Yeah, because I got to be back by 11, and it's a 45-minute drive, and I got to set up and tear down, and yeah. And I know there's a good story there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my plan.
Tell this woman speaking is so passionate.
Yeah.
She knew her shit. You're like, there's a story here if I can talk to her.
Yep. So we get back to the hotel. Dinner's at 10:32. Then we have the show, the music, and the piano.
Because the night kept going.
Yep. So at 1:30 we get back to the guest house.
Fucking God. And you got to be up at 7:30. Oh, you got to be up at 7 probably at the very
to go
least.
to the bakery.
What time did you actually get up? Like 6:30
I got up at 6:45. But wait, there's more. I got back.
Wait a minute.
At 1:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And Maria's like, hey,
remember me?
The dive bar's ready for you. He's staying open for you.
Fuck, man.
So the other riders are like, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm going to go to this dive bar with Maria. You want to come? It's a great story. And they're like, we got to sleep.
We're dead.
And they said, we don't start till 11. I said, oh, I start at 8. What are you talking about? I'm going back. You want to go with me? It's a great story. Oh, no. So they all unload and go in the thing. We hop in Maria's little car, drive into town, not very far. Meet Dimitri, incredible dive bar. He lived upstairs. The place outside emptied, so he opened a dive bar where he lived upstairs from. He's been there 20 years or 18 years of his 20-year celebration.
Opening a dive bar my downstairs, like.
Yeah, and he'll be
also,
there.
He's coughing. He's not sick. He's just old.
Yeah, and I need more coffee. And he and I've been talking a lot, and it's just this incredible story.
We talk a lot. My voice gets dry. My mouth gets really dry, and it's hard.
So his story is amazing. Dimitri's story is amazing. I tell him he needs to have a big party in 2 years. I tell him how he can collaborate with a brewery, have a brewery make a beer for his stuff. I drank so much at that place. We had 2 local IPAs, like a Crete one and some other one. Then he gave me some cocktail. Then I wanted. Then I had a martini. Then I wanted an old fashioned.
You drank a fuck ton at that guy's bar.
5 cocktails. 2 beers and 3 cocktails. Damn. And then I meet this filmmaker.
Are you the only person there? I mean,
no, me and Maria.
He's still open, but people are there too.
There's one person over here, and 2 people are over here. Turns out these 2 people. He's a filmmaker. I show him my video. Look, I made a video. The hazelnut thing, and he's like, "You're a filmmaker too?" I said, "Well, why don't you film Dimitri?" He said, "What are you talking about?" I tell him Dimitri's story, and he like, I've been coming here 10 years. I know Dimitri's story. I said, well, I'm a storyteller. That's what I do. So he says, oh, it's great. Great time with Dimitri.
Can I pause something here that I love is that, that's your knack is finding stories. I mean, you really are good at. It's funny how a guy can know Dimitri for 10 years and not realize, oh, the guy right in front of me. I'm a filmmaker, and the guy right in front of me has a great story. That's kind of sad, but it says a lot about you as a visionary person finding stories. But also, like, you've now told me a lot of the story. At this point, you're at this dive bar getting this incredible story. But no, people don't realize the competition of, like, making content. Like, the other 4 food writers are asleep, literally.
Yep.
How good does that feel? Like, I'm making shit while everyone else. That's why when I stay up at night working, watching film, I'm like, fuck, I'm making stuff. Everyone else is asleep. It makes me feel really good.
I loved it.
But not to mention, you got up at 6:45 after, what time is it now? 3 in the fucking morning?
I got to bed at 4:45.
And slept for 2 hours?
2 hours. And I had 3 hours the night before.
Because you were traveling 2 days ago. Like, my point is, think about the hunger and the tenacity.
I'm hustle. I want those stories.
All those other motherfuckers kept sleeping, and they did the bare minimum, is what I'm saying.
They did not. They worked hard, and I love them. I'm just nuts.
No,
I'm just nuts.
My point is, but they did everything they were asked of, right? You did even more than you were asked to do, and that's so impressive to me and says a lot about you. And I know you'll never say anything bad about them, and I love that about you too, but like, good fucking job, man. Like, you hustled your ass off.
And
I'm
I got
so
up at
impressed.
6, and I had a fun conversation with someone at the dive bar that night about life and life change and what do you really want, and told them this cool story.
So you didn't just fucking go drink alcohol. You actually talked about shit and used even more of your emotional energy to help somebody.
Yeah, and
you can't turn it off, you motherfucker.
I know, man. I'm a life story alchemist. I do 2 things: life story alchemist and culinary storyteller. And so she's crying, and we're talking about changing her life. What does she really want?
Maria?
And I tell her about Blind Bar, which is an amazing story. So then so I get back at 4:45.
Blind Bartimaeus.
What?
Blind Bartimaeus.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Look, how the hell is that? We have time. What the? How do you talk about Blind Bartimaeus in a bar in Greece? Like, how does that come up, and how did you even use that? Like, please,
because I could
me.
sense there was some issues.
Yeah.
And fulfillment issues, because I just have intuitive. And
so how does Blind Bartimaeus have anything to do with fulfillment issues?
Because everyone in Greece is Greek Orthodox. They all know the stories.
So what's the story?
Well, you don't know the Blind Bartimaeus story?
No, I don't. And here's what's cool. Like, I don't give a shit about the Bible. I'm not really religious. I don't care. But I think maybe what made you such a great pastor is your idea for storytelling. You're like, you probably open the Bible and like, there's this dude. And kind of the same way, like when I saw the guy, UTEP, who got in trouble he got arrested with gun and drugs. And the point of the story to me was his brother died 2 years ago. I'm sure you read the Bible the same way, where you look at a story and you go, there's more here than people are realizing, because there's a lot of context clues and a lot going on. So how the fuck does Blind Bartimaeus have anything to do with it? And I don't know.
So I know that she's Greek Orthodox. Yeah. And she knows she's going to remember the story.
What is the story?
I'll tell you. So, but then I say to her, hey, I got to tell you about a myth, but I don't want to offend you telling you it's a myth. And she goes, what do you mean a myth? So I'm going to use the story of the Bible from Jesus. She goes, well, I'm not a believer. I said, of course you're not. You're Greek Orthodox. None of you are believers. And then she laughs. She says, well, because some aren't, but some are believers, but some aren't. Can
I say that I want to? So sorry to interrupt your story, but I love that approach, because I am very skeptical of religion, and not in a bad way. Just I don't know, and I don't dive. I'm too busy, right, to deal with all that stuff in my heart. But what I do know is that what I have found of the Bible is there are some really interesting, whether you treat them as fact or not, the stories in there can be really helpful, and you can learn a lot. I mean, again, if you're listening to this podcast and you have trouble with religion, I totally understand. But if you can remove your trouble and even pretend, if you want to tell yourself it's fake, that helps me when I read that stuff.
Yep.
But my point is some of the parables and the stories in there are helpful shit. So like if you can, one of the ways I've learned to read the Bible, well, I don't really read it, but if I ever do, I tell myself I like it. It's a myth, but it's a helpful myth that'll tell me some helpful shit, so I'll read it anyway, right?
That was my approach with her.
Love that.
But I knew she would remember it once I told her, because I knew she was raised with the stories.
So what the fuck's the story? I don't know.
So I said, okay, I'm going to tell you about Blind Bartimaeus. She goes, who's Blind Bartimaeus? I said, Matthew, it's only 6 verses. Mark, it's only 6 verses. And she's like, okay. I said, all right, here's the deal. There's this blind guy begging and she's dealing with fulfillment issues. Blind guy begging by the side of the road. And he hears that Jesus is coming into town, and he knows that Jesus hears blind people. So he starts crying out, Jesus, Son of Man, have mercy on me. Jesus, Son of Man, have mercy on me. So then the crowd tells him to shut up, shut up. Jesus is not going to come help you. Shut up, you loser dog. Because when you try to change your life, there's people that come into your life that will say, no, you can't do it. And they will try to shut you up and stop you from changing your life.
Yeah. Your podcast is dumb. Don't make a strong. You're a stupid guy in a basement. Why are you making a podcast? Go drink. Why are you at college? It's Friday night. You should be drinking, hanging out with your friends at a party, not working on your stupid podcast. You'll never make money making strong opinion sports.
But he was hungry for life change, so he cried all the louder, Jesus, Son of Man, have mercy on me. So Jesus says, bring him to me.
Come on, blind Bartimaeus.
So he throws his cloak aside. He gets up and goes to Jesus. I'm like,
I like the theatrics of it.
It's like,
come here, Jesus.
What? Why did the blind man throw his cloak aside? What are you, stupid? How are you
going to find it
again?
Oh shit! Because he had faith.
So he goes to Jesus, and Jesus says, "This is, depending on where I'm at. Like if I'm preaching in a prison, I'll say this, but usually I don't. But this is the day Jesus asks a dumbass question. Jesus says,
tell me that because I like that.
Jesus says to the blind man, "What do you want?" Well, what do you think the blind man wants?
I'm blind.
And you're a healer of blind. What do you think he wants?
I want to pause the story again, man. I could go to your church because I You tell religious stories the same way I tell sports stories. Who gives a fuck about the trim the fat, quit the theatrics? Jesus asked a dumb fucking question. I love that. Like,
but Jesus knew something that took me years of caring for people to figure out. Not every blind person wants to see, and not every sick person wants to be well. Boom, mic drop.
It's sad because there are people out there that I can. They come to mind immediately that no matter how much you try to help them, they don't
want it. Yep. Yeah. So that's why Jesus asked that question. And I said, so Jesus asked the same question to you. It's a horrible, horrible question. What do you want? And the person I was talking to started bawling because a week earlier, friends asked some people, significant people in life, asked her the same question a week earlier.
What do you want?
What do you want with her life? And she said, how is it that a week later I'm in a bar in the middle of the night with a crazy American asking me the exact same question? I said, that's how the universe works, my sweetheart, and the universe might even like you.
Can I ask a weird? I don't know. I've never been to Greece. Is it a rare thing for a woman to be asked what they want in Greece? Is there a little bit of...
Women have their role.
They're a little bit lower.
And their role is to care for the family. You care for your kids and you care for your parents.
So asking
and
a woman...
you know you're culturally, often it's tough to break out of your role.
So
for her
to be asked that was
deal.
Breaking out of her role.
Yeah, and so it's really crazy that I didn't know if she'd been asked that a week earlier, the exact same question. But we had this amazing conversation. I have 5 drinks. I meet a filmmaker. I meet Dimitri. I get his story. I tell him how he has to have a party in 2 years for his 20-year anniversary, or maybe it's 25. I'll have to check my notes. I tell him how he can have a beer collaboration and brew a beer with a brewery in Thessaloniki. I tell him these 2 breweries, and he says, have you ever heard of Hoppy Bar? I said, do you mean George? And he goes, what? And I said, look, I'm friends with him on Facebook. And he's blown away that I'm friends with George because I was supposed to go there on Saturday and do a podcast with George, which when I get back to Thessaloniki, George, I'm coming for you. So Dimitri was shocked that I already had met George. So an amazing time. Get back at 4:45. I get to bed 6:45. I get up.
Could we go back to Dimitri? Because this is a guy who opened a bar in his downstairs of his house. I mean, what's that? I know there's something about him. I don't know what to ask, but what's the story I don't know about Dimitri?
His parents owned the building. He was living upstairs. They shut down their marble business. The space is empty, and he opened up a bar and said he could make it work and didn't know how.
So a marble business, like making countertops?
I don't know what they did exactly, but something with marble. And so the parents shut down the business, as I understand it, and he put in a bar. And then he has...
That's not a simple, small task.
Oh, here's an amazing thing.
I knew there was motherfucking something.
So that he does these big concerts out in he does big concerts across the street in the square.
Okay.
And apparently the big bands come there when they're nobodies, or if they don't come there, it's a rite of passage. When you get big enough in Greece, you have to go play at his bar.
Really?
So he says to me, hey, you're from the Northwest. And I said, yeah. He says, oh, my friends are touring the United States. They're a big band, Planet Zeus. You have to go see them. I said, well, where are they going to be? And he goes, and he looks and he goes, oh, they're going to be at the Doug Fir Lounge. I said, I was there Thursday last week. And that blew his mind. So I showed him photos that I was at the Doug Fir Lounge taking photos for a client. And it freaked him out. It just freaked him out.
You know what's horrifying is those guys are probably back home now.
Yeah, the tour got canceled. They
terrible?
didn't ever get to. But when they come, I'll go. I don't know what kind of music Planet Zeus does, but I'll go check them out and say, hey, cool. Dimitri sent me. And so I told him that he needs to.
That's how the world works, though, too. Is if you. That's awesome, man.
He was stunned. I'm like, oh yeah, I was there Thursday. This is Wednesday. I was there Thursday.
Is that in Portland or is that Camas?
It's Portland,
Portland?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doug Fir is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. A fantastic breakfast and great breakfast cocktails. A lot of people don't realize that. They do concerts, but they also have a restaurant that's amazing. And I love, breakfast where I can get alcohol, and they have fantastic. They're not a dive bar, but it's really good.
Yeah.
It's old school kind of, it's just cool looking.
Yeah.
So just amazing adventures. Get to bed at 4:45, get up at 6:45, get all my gear packed up, haul it downstairs, and walk down to the bakery. Get to the bakery, try to order my stuff. She's giving me grief. Finally, she realizes I don't speak Greek, and I'm an American. She's so excited. She's talking to me. I have no idea what she said. I take a bunch of photos. So now I've got an article. I get an article. I head back.
When you say, for people listening, when he says he has an article, what he means is he has now taking pictures of food. He has a story about the food. You have all the contents you need, like the meat and potatoes of an article that can be turned into one later when you grind the meat into what it is.
Exactly. So, and then the guy picks me up, the wonderful human being picks me up and takes me to interview Anna.
The president of that little area where the winery was.
Yeah. Takes me back and we go.
How long does it drive?
About 45 minutes.
Oh, damn.
So
did you talk to the guy?
Oh yeah, he talked enough English. We had a great chat and a great visit, and I told him how to alter his tourism plan, and here's how he should do it instead. Because I didn't think what he was doing was work. He should do this instead, and he thought that was amazing, and loved it.
Motherfucker! Like, I hate you, man.
Then he says
every person you talk to, you're like, you should do this. You did it with me. You did it with fucking every brewery we've ever been to. You're like, do this instead. And everyone changed. They changed their approach. Like fucking adding tight. You know, I was so resistant, but adding numbered episodes. Fuck you. Like, the reason why Strong Opinion Sports has numbers at the beginning of the episodes because this motherfucker told me to do it.
It's better. It's easier.
It is better. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And it's impressive. You're at 240.
Yeah.
241. I'm a fan. So we have a great visit. I get there with Anna. She's there ready to receive us. And we have an incredible visit. Long story short.
Anna's the woman. So people listening, Anna, if I remember, is the woman who was speaking that whole time to the group of people. And you behind the scenes were like, we're going to do a podcast with Anna. Is Anna even paying attention? It's that woman.
And she's trying to do it because she gets asked a question.
Anna doing a podcast with you helps her.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And she's during that night when she's trying to do a presentation, but someone would ask a question in English. It gets translated into Greek. And before she can answer, all these men are yelling answers out. And we literally get 3-4 minutes of yelling.
And then
then we get a 1-sentence English translation. And we're like, come on. But then Evan, who spoke Greek, would then tell us all the other stuff they said. And it's like they should have all just been quiet and let her talk.
Yeah.
They were very disrespectful to her. It was very hard for me.
Is that, again, back to some of the Greece women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find out that her great-grandfather escaped Istanbul, went to that town that we were...
Turkey?
Yeah. With the grapevines.
Is she Armenian?
No. So Greek. So she escapes the grapevines. He escapes from Istanbul, brings the grapevines, plants the grapes in a vineyard right nearby 98 years ago, and establishes the vineyard, the winery. When she was 8, 9, 10 years old, her dad... What?
In the 20s.
Yeah. 5th generation. Yeah.
The 1920s.
Yeah. Yeah. So, exactly. So, when she was 8, 9, 10 years old, her dad really expanded the vineyards and planted a lot more and made the winery even bigger. And she remembers walking through the vineyards, 8, 9, 10 years old, and it was just so peaceful. And she loved wine and she loved the vineyards, but she always wanted to be a doctor. So she became a doctor. She moved to Brussels and was a doctor in Brussels. And Brussels, Belgium.
Got it.
So 5 years ago, she comes home basically to run the family business.
That's what's interesting about Europe is like moving from Brussels to Greece is kind of like moving. It's like moving from one state to another.
Yeah.
It's way more.
It's dense.
It's a bunch of countries instead of a bunch of states, basically. So, like, if I move to Cincinnati, it's like me going to Brussels from Greece, right? Like, kind of
probably closer. That they're probably closer to each other.
Yeah, but it's some kind of comparison like that. Like me moving to a different state far away.
Yep. But 5 years ago, she gives up being a doctor and comes run the family business. She's one of the winemakers. Her and her dad make the wine.
Who has trained as a doctor?
Yes. We have a great story.
But she knows because she grew up with it, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, she's 5th generation winemaking. She knows how to make wine. This is her fourth crush. I get this great story. Crush is where the grapes come in and you crush them. It's a thing. It's called,
What's the yearly? So you crush it, then you make it into wine, then you bottle it. Is that how?
Yep. All in the fall. That's when the grapes are ready. You are working day and night. Crazy.
Fall's like tax season for a winemaker.
Yep. And it's just I have this amazing story with her, and then
hearing her story as a doctor to where she is now, and you have that recorded.
Oh yeah,
that'd be a good podcast.
Yeah, and the president guy, he leaves, but she's going to give me a ride back. So we're supposed to be back at 11. We're all done with the podcast. If we leave now, we can get back. But I know they're going to a church, and I don't want to see a stupid church. So I think, I bet I can catch up on the 1 or 2 before they leave that region and head to another region.
You can be late to the church.
Yeah, and I get a phone call. Hey, you all got to leave. Donald wants you back in the United States. Literally, that's the message I get. You got to go, so we're leaving soon. I don't know what that means. So she says, hey, do you want to see my grandfather's vineyards? And I'm like, Fuck yes, I do.
That or a church? Let's go to
So
the
we
vineyard.
drive out to the vineyards. I see the vineyards her great grandpa planted 98 years ago.
Are they really old growth trees? Like,
Oh, it's beautiful. And then I see all the other vineyards, and then she gives me a ride back into town. And then artists are amazing driver. I show back at the hotel, and they've been all communicating with each other because remember, they tattle on you. And I get there, and the van that we ride in is waiting for me at the hotel. So I think he's there to take us, like, I don't know if we're leaving, what we're doing. So I run upstairs, I pack up all my stuff, I throw it in the van, and then artist says, okay, and he drives me back to the church. And I didn't even know that he was going to be there, but that's how they all communicate because they appreciated what I was doing. So everyone's about done with the tour of the church, and I get there for the last little bit, and I walk up with my coffee and my food, and I'm standing there, and they go, well, where did you come from? So then we go to another winery and have an amazing time and an amazing dinner, and it's really fun. We're like, hey, we're out. We're putting you on planes to we couldn't get you on planes today, but we're putting a plane in the morning. We're trying to get back to the United States because the rumor was if we're not back to the United States Friday midnight, if we get back Saturday,
you might be stuck here.
We'll be quarantined for 14 days on a military base. That's what they were telling us. You got to get back by Friday midnight. And we're moving heaven and earth to get you back. So we're at this winery. We're going to leave the winery, go back to the hotel and pack, and then head to the airport. So we're at this winery. We have this amazing dinner, this great experience. I get these beautiful photos. And it was funny along the way, I'm taking photos, and the other travel writers are looking at some, man, your photo's beautiful, man. Oh, your photo's beautiful. So yeah, I'll give you all my photos. And pretty soon they realized I was serious, that I would literally give them all my photos. So when I got back, I uploaded 2,498 photos of the Greek trip, because I took another 1,000 in Munich on Tuesday, and I sent them all to them in Dropbox. They all have the Greek photos. They can use them because they don't do me any good sitting in my computer. So we get back to we have the great dinner at the winery. We get back to the hotel.
So they realized that why are we even trying to take pictures? We don't compete.
And they finally realized I was serious. I'm going to help them. I'm not
an asshole
competitive.
trying to,
I don't care. I'm going to if they
you're
write
gonna put
content,
Evan's article in my thing. You're in it.
I'm going to link their articles. Any articles they write, I'll link anything I can. I like all of them. They're all great people.
Yeah.
So we get back to the hotel, and they have to go pack.
Oh, but you packed already.
Already packed. And so then a local lady says, hey, the priest really wants to give you a tour of the church.
Because you missed it.
Yeah. It's very important to the priest. Okay, so I get a tour of the church. I get to see things they didn't get to see. I get upstairs. I get all these pictures of this beautiful church. Then we get back.
I've heard this part. Wasn't it part of it like you were on... Because all I've heard since you got back was the church and you came back early. I knew a little bit about that. Was it because you were trying to help her, right?
I just want to... If it's important to the priest, I want to do it. So we did that. Then we got in the van and we drove to Thessaloniki. We checked into this beautiful hotel, and they want to feed us dinner.
Oh.
And it's 10 o'clock at night. So we go and we're going to have dinner. Now,
wait, I'm confused. So you were staying the hotel where you had 2 days of base operations.
Yeah, Gomenes was an hour north of Thessaloniki.
Got it.
In Gomenes.
You landed Thessaloniki, drove to Gomenes where all the wineries are.
Yep.
That rough area.
Yep.
Then go down.
Yep.
So now you're in Thessaloniki that night.
That Thursday night at 10. Yep.
Got it.
And they want to feed us dinner. So Evan, he's tired. He goes to bed. The rest of us go. We have this amazing dinner in this hotel, this incredible dinner. And I'm like, I need a martini. I need a fucking martini. So I say, I need a good Greek gin. I want 3 olives, wave the vermouth bottle over it, and fill it with gin. And the other writers, oh, that's how my dad orders it. I'm like, great. You make me feel really old, but it was fun. And
How young were they? Were they like?
Oh, they're all my age roughly. But they bring me this. They bring me this bottle of gin and show me the bottle, and the gin's name is Grace. It's Grace Gin, Grace Distillery, out of Athens, and I'm like, oh, this is so perfect because Grace is a big deal in my world, and I'm here in Thessaloniki. Last time I was in Thessaloniki, I was there preaching about Grace. Now I'm here drinking Grace Gin. It was so cool. So then I got to bed we got back to room about 12:30 at night. We had this amazing dinner and visiting with everybody and laughter. Got back to room at 12:30, packed everything up, got up at 4:45 and headed to the airport. My ticket, which the Greek government paid really much to get for me, I had a seat from Thessaloniki to Munich.
So shout out to the Greek. I mean,
they
if you go to Greece too is on board, they're basically the whole trip fell apart.
And they took care of us and got us home.
We had to get you home.
Yeah.
Because coronavirus was just such a big deal.
And they were afraid we'd be either stuck in Greece permanently or put in a military base in the United States. So they moved heaven and earth to get us back by Friday at midnight. But my ticket had a seat from Thessaloniki to Munich and no seats from Munich to San Francisco and San Francisco to Portland because they bought me tickets on an overbooked flight.
They just did the best they could.
They did. I have no complaints about them.
Yeah.
So they're like, you have
what does that mean for you?
You have to run and get to the gate before anyone else to get a seat on that plane.
Oh boy.
So when you're in an airplane, you're behind security. So we land. We're already through security, but we have to go through security. Germany's not screwing around
because of Corona. They're just
and just they're not. I mean, guards walk through the airport with
like
machine gun.
Anyway.
I mean, you feel safe. It's beautiful. I absolutely love the Munich airport. But 4 times between when we land and I get to the gate, we are stopped and checked, and our identities are checked, and where we going? Do we have things? Do we have our boarding passes? Is it legit? And every time we stop, I'm running to get ahead of everybody else.
What's my image here? Like you have your bag. Are you rolling with your bag rolling? Like
yeah, I've got my rolling backpack and my shoulder bag.
And you're running? Like,
yes.
I've never seen you run in my life. What does this look like? I mean,
I ran the mile in high school.
Oh, in high school? That's a while ago. I mean,
so I'm running, and in the end, I was the 3rd person to the gate, 3rd in line.
I want to revisit this running thing, man. Like, please give me an image.
I was sweating. I was running for my life to get home because if I miss this plane, there are no more planes out today. And then the next day, I spend 14 days in a military base. That's what we were told.
Yeah. And you're like, I want to get on this goddamn plane.
Karen does not want that. She wants me home. She does not want me stuck in a military base. I don't want to spend 14 days in a military base.
So you're sweating profusely,
running,
you're backpack, you're running,
and my little wheelie thing. I'm holding carrying.
Or are you like doing this, or is
yeah,
it
I'm carrying it. I'm carrying it and running.
But to me, I don't know. People listening probably don't give a shit. To me, it's the best image. Like,
so I get there and they're like, "Well, we don't really have any seats left." So they did have one in first class.
What? Fuck you.
So I whipped out the credit card and I spent an extra $649 and I got a seat in first class.
Well, whatever.
Otherwise, I wasn't getting on the plane.
No, I know. I mean, look, if I'm going to fly from Greece to America, I want to be on first class. That's amazing.
Well, they call it business class, but there was no one else in front of us but the pilot. So it was first class in my head. It was incredible. But what was funny and tragic is I met people. There's this gate's going to San Francisco. This gate is going to Houston. I met people who lived in the Bay Area that this plane was sold out, so they bought tickets to Houston
to get to America.
To get to America, and they had no way to get from Houston to
San
Francisco, but they knew they could at least rent a car. It was like 9/11.
Wow.
And when they called and I started getting on the
we don't know if we can fly from Houston to San Francisco, but we got to get home.
Before midnight. And that's these are the last 2 flights going out today. And we don't know if there's flights tomorrow. I mean, and when I'm boarding, people are crying because they're not going to get on that plane. It's sold out. It's overbooked. It was serious shit. So I had this great time on the plane back and got to San Francisco, and I spent about an hour. You land, but you have to go through immigration or customs, whatever, to get officially into the country, even though you're there. So I spent about an hour, got through, got on my flight to Portland, which was empty. That was easy, and got home. The next day, the people that landed on Saturday, they in that same room that I was in for an hour, they were in for 8 and 9 hours. And they missed their flights. They had to spend the night in San Francisco. It was a nightmare. So I'm so glad I got home by midnight. There was no one put in military bases, but that's what we were told at the time, is you have to get back by midnight.
Can I ask you a weird question? Why did everyone know that things were going to get worse on Saturday? And is that kind of a flaw in our system? Like, it just takes a while for the waves to go through?
Well, Trump said if you're not back by Friday at midnight, then there's all these travel restrictions.
It's crazy, man.
So I got, and it was fun visiting people. They were glad. They said, "Man, we wish we'd gone with you to the dive bar or back to the winery because I got more content. I got a video."
Oh, because these people are going back with like almost nothing.
Well, not almost nothing. They have the 3 wineries,
very little.
And
but that 3 compared to 24 they were expecting to get.
Right. Yep. And they say they'll have us back, and I hope they do. I'd love to go back. It was amazing people, amazing food. It was incredible. But I'll have a video of a podcast and 9 articles. From
how many hours?
Tuesday at 11, and I was back to Thessaloniki Thursday at 10, having dinner, headed out the next morning.
That's crazy. That's like It's impressive. I mean, like,
I hustled, man, but I had so much fun. The people were so nice. The food was so good.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing better than living life that way, though. I mean, it's not sustainable, but when you're...
I was in the hunt, and I wasn't tired.
But it's fulfilling, right? Like,
so fulfilling.
It's funny how when you're in the hunt, like you said, it doesn't make you tired. You don't find time to get tired because what's driving you is the desire to finish. And again, you can't do it for a sustained amount of time for months on end, but for a little while. When I was in college, I'd be the same way. Like during the week, I'm a hunt motherfucker. I'm going like class, work all night, sleep for like 2 hours, then go to class again in the morning, and then on a weekend just crash. But I knew that I could get through the week that way because you're just going and fighting and working.
And had we stayed in Greece and not gone home Thursday night I would have had plenty of sleep. I would have had 8 or 9 hours of sleep that night. You could have let it catch up. And I would have been able to catch up and been ready for a run on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
But it just...
You can't go more than a couple days spurts.
Right. And then I need
kills you.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an incredible trip. I hope to go back. It was amazing. I ran across someone who's going to help me. All my articles that I post on the about this, I'm going to post them in English and in Greek. So I'm going to use Google Translate and translate them into Greek as best I can, but not know what it says. And then I now have a Greek editor, and she's going to edit it and fix it for me. Because I think one of the things about this amazing Kilkis region that's incredible, it's about an hour north of Thessaloniki. And everyone goes to Thessaloniki from all over the place in Greece, just like people go to Portland from San Francisco, from Bend, from Seattle, they come to Portland. And some of the Portland people that come to Portland have been 3 or 4 times. Guess what they decide to do when they get to Portland? Go to the Oregon coast. So I think they should get people that travel to Thessaloniki who've been there 4 or 5 times
to go to that area. Which is why I'm going to put my articles in Greek so the Greek people can read about it. I want Americans to go and anyone else that reads English, but I also want people that read Greek in Thessaloniki to go. And then Maria, our innkeeper, she said, "Why do you want all these articles? This is a wine trip." I said, "I'm going to write about the wineries, and the wineries are amazing, and people should visit them. The wine's incredible. But someone that comes here for wine, they're going to stay at your place. They're not just going to go to wine. They want to go to the cool bakery in the morning. When they're done with wine, if they're still awake, they want to see the local. They could go to see Bart Dimitri." And it clicked for her that I'm offering people a whole experience. And her place, her guest house, she can get you rides. She can help you rent, even if you just. She can help you get from Thessaloniki to her place, and then she can get you rides to all of those wineries. You don't even need a car. You just hire a driver to take you to those places. And it hit her that I'm offering a whole experience when you go there. Yeah.
It was so awesome. Yeah, I met this, she helped me connect with this chef, and it was really funny. There was some kid that was, I don't know what he was connected to the winery somehow, our third winery. The one we had Thursday afternoon, we had dinner around 5 and we left around 7, and it was amazing. And he says, "So what are you, why are you here with these people?" I said, "Oh, I'm just their mascot and I carry their luggage." The other writer's laughing, and he doesn't know. He's like, "Who are you?" And I'm taking photos and just, I'm just, hey, whatever, I'm just me. And we had a story the night before about chestnuts. And I talked about chestnuts and the Holiday Ale Fest, and they sell chestnuts. And I said, the best chestnuts are stuffed inside of pigs, and you make chestnuts in a pig dish. What I didn't know is that above the wineries is this mountain area, and they have all these chestnut farms. So we're at this dinner at the winery, and then this chef gets introduced, and he has a restaurant where he makes a pork dish with chestnuts. And he says, "I have been asked to prepare this special dish for our special guest from Portland, Oregon, Stephen Shomler." Because someone put that together for me. And then this guy's like, "Who are you?" And if I ever get to go back, I want to go up and interview those chestnut farmers. And I want a chestnut podcast, and I want to interview that chef and his story. I mean, my friend Evan, when he got to go, he loves Athens. So he asked them, fly me in 2 or 3 days early, and then he'll pay for his own time. So if I go back to Greece, anywhere they're fly me in 2 or 3 days early, and I'll pay for my own way from wherever we land back to that little region, and I'll get more stuff. There was a park we went to that was stunningly beautiful. We'll put up a photo right here. So beautiful, this park. But I want to have time to film this park.
What made it beautiful?
I don't know. It's just the fall, and they have it's waterfalls.
So it's fall there.
Yeah, and they had waterfalls. It looked like fall to me. I don't know. But they had waterfalls. And
Well, here's were they doing a crush?
it was coming out of winter, so that's what it was. It's coming out of winter, but it looked like fallish to me.
Well, also, like they probably don't have as harsh a winter, maybe because it's
not in Greece. Yeah. So it was just I want to film this and just show people how beautiful this is, and you can walk there to this little park from the town, and then walk along these waterfalls and all that. And so it's just awesome stuff. So
that's cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty incredible trip. I made the most of it. Met amazing people. Had incredible food. I follow Thanos now on Instagram. He's just amazing. It's just
I follow him too.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And I had people that I'd talk about you, and then they'd find you and they'd show me, "Is this your son?" I go, "Yep." And they go, "Oh, wow."
That's awesome. Really, man. That sounds like an amazing trip. I mean, sad that it was cut short, but you made the most of it, right? I mean,
yep.
That's all you can do when you have a thing that, I mean, it's a sad circumstance that it got cut short, but like you did the best you could. I mean,
yeah, and I looked sharp, man. I had great scarves. I had 4 pair of sunglasses. I had some really nice shirts. And the first day I come out and I've got my best shirt on, my best. I'm like, I belong here, baby.
Like me wearing a flannel, it's like the best thing I own.
For now, where there's different seasons talking paint sports. You see the guy that said that? First was the polo season, and now he's in the era, and now we're in the flannel era, and he can't see what era is next. So can I.
Actually, it was funny when the show first started. I used to wear really nice dress shirts, and I was like, these are uncomfortable. I went to the polos, and then now here we are with the flannels. I've at least got a little better.
So I walk out that first morning, Wednesday morning, and they all start teasing me, and I guess it's a thing in Greece. "Oh, wow, your wife must be amazing. She dressed you so good." And I'm like trying not to be offended, but fuckers, I dressed myself. I picked these things out. I've got all the clothes. I got way more
God bless
clothes.
Karen. I chose this than her.
And I got way more clothes than she does, right, wrong, or different. I'm crazy about my clothes. And then the other thing they said is
you gotta meet Max. My friend Max Huskins, who is very like...
I love Max. I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, shout out to Max. I should have him sit here and do a show with him. I mean,
yeah, you should.
Or maybe you should do a show with him. Talk about clothes for an hour and a half.
But then the other thing, and so then they started joking every day how great my wife dressed me, and I'm like trying not to be disrespectful of their culture. Then the other thing said, "Oh, you're such a nice young man. Your mother must have been amazing, because if you're a good person, your mother must be
your
great."
Mother.
Oh my God! And I'm like, I couldn't. I was like, no, actually, no. And then it's not cool to say bad thing of my mother, but like, no, my mother had nothing to do with who I am. And like, I'm not going to let you give my mother credit for who I am. I mean, there's no fucking way. So I said it respectfully, but like, I'm drawing a line there.
To be clear, his mother's a horrible person. Like, I don't know how to, I don't know, there's no other way to like, that's just, we talked about fact versus opinion earlier. Fact. His mother's a terrible person.
I had every kind of dark abuse you can imagine in my childhood, and things you never want to imagine.
I want to, dude, you'll never ever let me. I want to tell those stories. Like, you should tell, there's got to be a way to get that out of you someday. I don't know how.
I'm sure we can. But
yeah! Let's do it. It's horrible, but let's do it.
But I spent a lot of time in therapy in my 20s healing from literal abuse. And so, don't tell me my mom, who I suffered abuse at her hands.
I know barely anything about your childhood or anything.
But you can say Karen dressed me, and that's cute and fine, but no, you're not going to say I am who I am because of my mom. I worked really hard to be who I am in spite of my mom. So,
fuck you. So when you got back, like, was it nice to see Karen? Tell me, like.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. We just she was so glad I was back, and I got back Friday night, and we got back Friday night at 8, and I'd been, I left Friday and got back on Friday because you're good picking up 10 hours on the time change. But I still had a 2-hour flight, a 12-hour flight, and a 2-hour flight. I'd still been traveling for like 18 hours, even though I picked up, it was still the same day. I'd been traveling for 18 hours. But when I got home, we had martinis. I was so happy to have martinis with her.
Quarantinis.
No, they were martinis. And it was just so awesome. It was like, okay, I'm home. It was great. And I told her a bunch of stories and showed her
Is she really
photos.
busy right now?
What?
Is she really busy right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I told her lots of stories, and it was great to get home, and it was a lot of fun. And then Saturday, we recouped and watched Contagion and Outbreak and had more martinis.